why things on everything, all mammals, okay, they have the capacity to catalog and sort. Now the mind, because there's neurological activity and there's eye movement, it dreams. It makes up a story to go with what you're doing. Sometimes, you talk to the mystics and the sages, and they often will say, yes, people have had prophetic dreams. They've been carried to the top of a mountain and they've experienced something. I believe that there's that kind of experience. I've also woken up from a dream and thought, Lynell, scared of you. Why? That was the weirdest thing. I just don't get why you would even come up with that. But we are creative beings. Our mind is having neurological activity. The mind creates a story to go with this rapid eye movement. And it always does it. You always dream when you're cataloging and sorting from all the information all day. And then, because people were being monitored on EEGs and EKGs, seismograph equipment, and that wonderful new thing called Carillion film, which can film the human electrical field. The woo-woo people call it an aura. The scientists call it the human energy field. So here we are dreaming, and guess what happens? At the end of every dreaming sequence, and maybe, I know mothers holding babies see this a lot, but if you've ever seen your dog running in their sleep when they're having a dream, but often at that, right then, there's a roll back in the eyes, they flutter really fast, and on the film they saw a literal cloud come out. All the instruments measured something. The seismograph equipment, I don't think it was an earthquake, but it was large enough that they're able to measure it, okay? And basically it's a big, huge negative ionic release, okay? Well, this is exciting. What is that doing or not doing? Does it mean anything? Scientists get really interested about this stuff. So then they do what they call research control groups. Okay? They split people off into groups. Now these groups in the dream research were awesome. So they had people in the group who reported normal. They don't really, I'm not quite sure what normal is, but I know at least it's a setting on my dryer. But they reported normal. Other people had emotional things like depression. They had physical things like cancer, and in both groups. One group just got to sleep all night and be measured. The other group, every time they went into the asleep alpha brainwave, okay, and started that rapid eye movement thing, they'd wake them up, okay? Now this could be very annoying, but they did that all night long, okay? They could go down into the other stages of sleep, and their sleep pattern became really erratic. It wasn't that regular kind of flowing thing that a person that has straight 8 hours of sleep gets. They did go down into other not dream stages, but the brain waves. But listen, they never got to have that release at the end of the dreaming sequence. And after only 5 nights, they stopped doing it with people because they started having psychotic breaks. And as we know from our tweaker friends, if you stay up long enough, you start having hallucinations, okay? And think about this for us people. We've all stayed up all night for one reason or the other. How did you feel the next day? It's strange. I call it the walking underwater feeling. It's like, whoa, and I'm zoning out. I'm doing all kinds of things because my body's trying to get me to relax. And I have now 2 days of full data that I have not processed. I haven't gone into rapid eye movement and catalog and sorted it all, and I didn't have that release at the end of the dreaming sequence. Now, this is very exciting. This is how important that is. They continued to do that research with cats, rats, and dogs, and deprived long enough of that release that happens at the end of REM sleep, you die. Okay? Now, to me, that speaks of a very important process that we must have to have a higher quality of life or life at all. Okay, we need to have that. Your body, all of our bodies, have a natural way that they release that enables us to rest and to come back the next day with more energy than we had when we went to bed. Okay? It's a natural process that your body does to release. That's very exciting when we think about it as a whole, because Dr. Renee Johnson, having, well, for me, she's my mother, so to me, we have 3 generations of autism. My grandfather had an autistic sister. My mother had an autistic son. My brother, okay, severely autistic. And I myself have an autistic son. So we have pretty high functioning, but we have 3 generations of autism. And other people, my brothers, and it seems to be pervasive in our family. So here's my mom, and she's a mother, and she's desperately looking for a way, some way, any way, to help her autistic child. And here's what I remember as a child. I'm with Kelton. We're sitting at the dinner table, and usually he never says anything. He doesn't talk. He's just there. And all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, he'll scream and stab himself with a fork and have a big emotional outburst. Sometimes it would happen at church, which as a teenager was mortifying for me. And my mom realized one day, I remember when she said it to me, Kelton is not, all that time he's sitting there staring at the dryer going around and around and around. He's in there, he's feeling, he's having all the same things that we're having in life, and he's not processing any of it emotionally. It's not happening for him until he gets like a pressure cooker and it explodes and comes out in very inopportune and inappropriate moments, okay? Which causes people to be scared of him. It causes, him to people not to like him. And this, for those of you that have either a child that is differently abled, or you have this feeling that there's something not right with my child, there's something wrong. It's a certain feeling. And I don't know if I can really explain it to you unless you've been there, but you really want to help your child. And you really want to find something that will do that. And this is the place where Renee Johnson was. I've got to find something to help this child. And so, hearing this dream research, learning about these brain waves, her basic idea, her whole hypothesis for the research for Rapid Eye is very simple. It's simply this. How can we duplicate the natural process that your body does at night at the end of the dreaming sequence? How can we duplicate that and be in the awake alpha brainwave instead of the asleep alpha brainwave? And if you were in the awake alpha brainwave processing emotional data, would your mind make more cognitive connections instead of that weird dream you had? I'm not talking about prophetic dreams, okay, or visions or anything like that. Just that time, and would it look like this? More cognitive awareness, like, oh, that's why I hate green carpet. Or, oh, that's why I'm afraid to sign up for college. I mean, would you get more cognitive connections or ahas about what's not working for you in your life? And since it's a release process your body does naturally at night, would you have results? I mean, where you could go ahead and sign up for college. You could go visit your Aunt Edna, even though she has green carpet. You could. And that would raise the quality of your life. Now, this is all wonderful as we talk about it, but as Renee Johnson had this hypothesis and started doing this research, and she had been told that Kelton would probably never talk, he would never read, he would never be able to live on his own, okay? So it's very exciting that although Kelton has moved a lot out of his autism, we feel due to the rapid eye process. He still has a lot of developmental delay and probably some mental retardation, okay? But he has made progress. He does talk. He uses a lot of the autistic echolalia, but he talks and he is able to communicate in a better way where we can at least have a handle on what's going on for him. He still processes emotionally, sometimes in an outburst, but he knows now tools and skills to assist him. And that's been this journey that my mother I've watched over the years has been really fantastic, because as a result of a mother's desperate attempt to find help for her autistic child, a healing modality has developed that for once is drug-free. People are tired of taking drugs. They're tired of doing that. They want to feel themselves and they want to move forward. They're tired of that fear of that event that happened when they were 3 years old, ruling their whole life. They're tired of their phobias. They want to move forward. And so she began researching. How would this work with trauma, severe trauma, PTSD? How would this help the Vietnam flashbacks that are so widely talked about and reported? Because they came home to a lower quality of life than when they left. They had things they had to deal with. And a lot of people did not like that war. And they were not appreciated. There was a lot of issues there. And you've got that, severe trauma. You've got this whole spectrum of things. Would rapid eye help the results of fear from rape and sexual abuse? When children have trauma and their development is arrested, could this get them developing again? Could this process that's natural for the body actually be awake, the person awake enough to engage the mind to assist in this healing process, but not just using the mind, because a lot of people have done cognitive talk counseling for years and have not moved forward. Many have, but some people have been stuck. What if you had this process that used the mind, the body, and the emotions, and we believe it's developed quite into a spiritual therapy, working with all 4 aspects of a human being and moving forward together in a balanced way. We are seeing great results on this continuum of severe trauma, PTSD, to housewife stress, okay? And everything in between. And it, of course, works better for some people than others, just like every healing modality. And I'm not advocating giving up counseling or anything like that. We need to process. And for auditory people, they need to talk. But not everyone processes in the same way. And how would this affect and assist people who need to move forward out of their basic issues? So that's my little spiel on how I think that the rapid eye process, basically, I think that everyone could understand that, from a medical doctor to, a kid in high school, about how we process and how can we start using more natural ways, just like people use nutrition and cleanses to help cure their cancers. It's recorded. I read about it all the time. There's got to be other natural ways that help us move through mental health issues, help us move through our fears, the things that are anxieties, the things that are keeping us what we would feel like small, and letting us move more into protective, allowing us to feel spiritual, that our prayers just don't hit the ceiling and stop, allow us to have a better physical body, more health, allow our emotions to be able to, really be felt and processed instead of stuffed away, not to be dealt with. And how about making our mind our ally instead of that itty-bitty icky committee that tells us negative things all the time? How about our mind becoming our friend and telling us we can go ahead, we can have what we want in life? And those are the things, and that's why I do Rapid Eye, not because my mom's the founder, but because I have profound experiences myself and with others that makes me go, wow, this